Book here, and we're here to talk to you about BkChat's recent episode 3 in the season, talking about whether the 9 to 5 is better than entrepreneurship and what is a success.
Fingers down my spine, girl, you look mighty fine. Won't you rub your fingers down my spine, girl, you look mighty fine.
So, the recent episode of BkChat, and I want to come in BkChat because these three episodes that they've had have been constructive, have been insightful, and the lack of disrespect is helping BkChat's case in terms of becoming a great discussion show where people learn things. Again, I want to commemorate BkChat because to be a black platform and to do what you're doing and to blow up the YouTube scene the way you have, you've just come in like a hurricane, coming like a wrecking ball. Then, you know, we have to commemorate them and say, listen, look, you lot are doing bits, you see what I mean? But having said that, listen, let's get into the topic. Why do people consider an entrepreneur to be more successful? First of all, let me break down the two definitions. 9 to 5 really and truly is the term that we say when someone's working a routine job. So you're working a job where you normally work from 9 to 5. Other people can work from 8 to 6, doesn't really matter. It's just a routine job from Monday to Friday often, which obviously you can work Saturday and Sunday too, but it's just a routine job, you get me? Just an everyday job. An entrepreneur, the definition of an entrepreneur is somebody who sets up business or businesses and takes the risk. So they take risk to make profit. This is what an entrepreneur is. In a Christian fold, would say somebody who starts up their ministry as something as opposed to entrepreneur. And I would say that every Christian has a ministry. In the same sense, I would say every human being can be an entrepreneur. Whether they be one is another case. Everyone has the ability, as Gogo said, to be an entrepreneur. The factors of why someone doesn't become an entrepreneur or why they do are totally different for every individual person and must be judged on every individual case. Oh, if everybody is an entrepreneur, who will work for the entrepreneur? You don't get other entrepreneurs to work for entrepreneur. That doesn't make sense. Do you see what I'm saying? So what happens is 9 to 5 is essentially needed in order for the entrepreneur to become the entrepreneur. Because if you become an entrepreneur, you have a hair business, who's coming to your hair salon? It's not gonna be the entrepreneur, it's gonna be the person who works 9 to 5. And I would say this, like when Nunu was chatting, she was kind of making it almost, at the beginning, she made it almost sound as if like 9 to 5 was rubbish, but you're forgetting that your clients are 9 to 5. Never ever disrespect people who do 9 to 5. Listen, I'm a 9 to 5 kind of person. I tried to do a little bit of business, but I'm not as serious on it. Maybe that's a bit of laziness, maybe that's because life, but regardless, I'm a 9 to 5 at the moment. Do you get what I'm saying? And I would say, I want to start with Nunu because Nunu said some very interesting points. She said, why don't people put their 9 to 5 in their bio, for instance, like on Instagram or on Twitter? And she made a very good point. And the reason why people don't put their 9 to 5 job in there because universally it's not accepted. Now, what is universally accepted? Well, if I worked at Sky as a CEO, I could put it in my bio. I don't have to be an entrepreneur. Do you get it? The reason is, what we're talking about here, and I'll go into another video when we talk about that, I'll talk in more detail. The case on bank here is not really the job. It's the money, first of all, the power that comes with it, and the status. What is those three things? If the status of the job is very high, for instance, let's say I work in bank. So if I work in a bank, but I work in a bank for the Queen, I'm a personal banker just for the Queen. If I put in my bio, listen, I'm a personal banker for the Queen, no one's gonna cuss me. In fact, it's a universal success because what really and truly what I'm saying is that I've reached the highest level. I'm now banking for the Queen. Whereas if I say I'm banking in Metro, now people are gonna be like, yeah, that's okay. It's not great, but it's okay. It's okay. Do you get what I'm saying? So the reason why people put certain things in their bio is because we automatically assume that's a success. But I'm gonna make this point. Everybody is a success in their own right. And success is not dictated by universal standards. There are universal standards which can dictate a certain type of success, but that does not define what success really is. So let me give you a definition of what success is. Success really and truly is whatever goal you set, whatever goalposts you set. When you shoot the ball and you score, that's your success. So whatever aims, targets and goals and objectives you set, so long as you meet those targets, aims, objectives that you have set, you are a success in your own eyes. If you look for success all the time from outside, what you're looking for is not success, it's validation. It's a bit like Twitter. Maybe some people got like 10,000 and someone's got 100,000. But then the 100,000 person was not verified, but the 10,000 person is verified. You're looking for validation rather than actually what your success is. The 100,000 person may feel like he's a success, but universally he has not been verified. Do you get it? So if you look for universal validation, you're going to always be unhappy. Again, I want to take this analogy. If you set up a pyramid, all right, at the very top, you may say that's an entrepreneur, a successful entrepreneur. But who's at the bottom? Entrepreneurs are not built on top of entrepreneurs. I'm going to repeat that point because I wanted to drive it home. Entrepreneurs are built upon 9-to-5s. Do you get it? The pyramid at the top cannot exist if the bottom does not extend. And you see, the bottom of the pyramid is the largest base because majority of people are 9-to-5. Majority of people are 9-to-5. Now, whether those people are happy, that's a different story. But the majority of people are 9-to-5. Whether those people are a success universally, different story. But the majority of people are 9-to-5. In regards to everyone being an entrepreneur, they can. And I'll say this. The Bible says your gift will make room for you before kings and queens. I want you to look at anybody successful. Anybody who's doing what they are supposed to be doing. For instance, Michael Dapper at the moment is blowing. Why is he blowing? He's doing his own thing. He is doing his own thing. He's staying in his lane and doing what he does best. When he does what he does best, he's now put before kings and queens. Where is he now? He's blowing up. Where isn't he? Who's not singing his songs? Who's not saying swell? Who's not saying scoot up, pat, 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 tun, tun? We all know what it is because my man stayed in his lane, and when the opportunity came, the door opened, he was able to step through it. Opportunity presents itself to everybody, but if you're not doing what you are supposed to do, then that's when you miss it. It's not about being creative. It's not about being somebody who, or should we say, millennial creatives. No. It's about doing what you're supposed to do. For instance, sometimes, let's say at church even, or say like in the world, right? But I'm going to take church as an example because a lot of Africans can identify with this. There are aunties and uncles there, yeah, who cook food well, and they bring it after church. And they may give it for free, not realizing that's their ministry or their business. Do you get it? They do it so well. If they were to apply it into a business or a ministry, it bangs because that's what they're supposed to be doing. You don't have to quit your job to be an entrepreneur. That's a lie. You don't have to quit your job to be an entrepreneur because you can do a side hustle and still be an entrepreneur and a 9-to-5. Why not have the best of both worlds? But if your business is able to take care of you financially, boom, why have a 9-to-5 job when you can let your business take care of you? Do you get it? So if your business doesn't take care of you, you got to do 9-to-5. Reva made some very important points, and I think that is going to encapsulate the whole of this video and my next video. Success is found in you. So if you set up goalposts, for instance, if you look at football, right, you may have a top team like Chelsea playing a bottom league team like Accrington and Stanley. Who are they? If you watch Sky Sports and you watch Soccer AM, you know what I'm talking about. But Accrington and Stanley, they're like in a bottom league. Now, no one gives Accrington Stanley a hope and chance in the world, you get me, to win the game. I'm gonna say this, success is broken down into almost two formats: beautiful endings and tragedies, but they're still successes. Here it is. Accrington Stanley are a small ass team playing a big ass team like Chelsea. When Accrington Stanley play Chelsea, no one gives Accrington Stanley a chance in the world. Not a problem. When Accrington Stanley meet Chelsea, they still lose, but they lose admirably. It's a success for the team of Accrington Stanley. 1, because financially they got blessed. 2, they were probably on TV. 3, they played the best game of their life against some of the best footballers in the world, and they managed to hold their own. They lost maybe 1-0, 2-0. It's a success. Why is it a success? Because the goalpost of what they set, the original goalpost was, listen, let's just make sure we don't get battered here. That's a success. Now, the other success would have been a beautiful end. It would have been, let's beat them. If we can beat them, it's a beautiful ending. If we don't beat them, it's a beautiful tragedy. Do you get it? So success is two things. The third success, I would say, also is a stepping stone to the future. So I'm going to take this example. When our ancestors got dragged over from Africa to here, okay, some of the slaves decided they're going to rebel. And when they rebelled, they ended up in Jamaica. Okay, or end up in the Caribbean, so around the world, around different parts of the world. Because when the rebels fought against their slave masters, they took them to other different islands. That was a beautiful success. They got taken back to another island. Some of them rebelled and died, but they said, I'd rather die than go to where this person's taking me. tragedy of a success. Some of them didn't. They came over to UK, coming to America, and they died in that land. But the generations have sprung forth, which create me and yous. Yeah, the generations that have gone forth that creates the African American, the British African. They have come over, settled, birthed you and I, or our parents, etc., into this land, so that now when we are now growing, we can now have success on the land that we're in. That's a stepping stone type of success. Success can be universal, but the main thing is success is intrinsic. Whatever goalposts you have set and built, and you put the ball in the net, that's your success. Nunu, I'm gonna go back to Nunu. Nunu said about that your success shouldn't be hard work. I think she needed to formulate her words correctly. I knew what she was saying, but I think she formulated it incorrectly. Your success here, or your purpose on earth, okay? Your purpose will come naturally to you. For instance, I just love doing what I'm doing on YouTube. It comes naturally. I just like singing. It comes naturally. I like playing football. It comes naturally. I like to dance. You already know what it is. It comes naturally. But here's the thing. In order to make my talent come before kings and queens, which is my original point, in order for Michael Dapper to become where he is now, to be Big Shaq, and to be known by the world, there has to be hard work put in. There is no way there are very few people who, when they put their foot into something, immediately prosper. There are very few people in the world. There are people that happens. They put their foot in the thing and they automatically become a success. But a lot of people have to work hard. They have to be consistently consistent. Do you get it? So with Michael Dapper, he was consistent. He's been doing Big Shaq and doing his characters, Euphoria, or whatever the guy, whatever, the one that drives the cab, whatever. He's been doing those characters for time, but he's blowing down. If you see Mo the comedian, he's been doing this thing for time, but he's blowing now. Do you get it? So being consistently consistent is the hard work. And sometimes being consistently consistent, you've got bills to pay, which is my next point. Sometimes you have bills to pay, and sometimes you can't focus on your entrepreneurship because you got bills to pay. The 9 to 5 comes into play, and it's understandable. You're not being a non-success because you had to go back to 9 to 5. And that's what I'm saying. For Nunu, her success is being an entrepreneur. She can't go to 9 to 5. Let me tell you this now. I said purposely, do not look down on 9 to 5 because you never know what can happen. You never know what can happen, where you can end up. So when Nunu was saying, I can never do a 9 to 5, I was like, be careful. Where you have to be careful because we could end up there. The place you don't want to end up is where you could end up. Just be humble and say, listen, I wouldn't want to do it on 9 to 5. My thing is entrepreneurship. Humility is a beautiful thing. I'm not saying that you can't be confident you ain't going to go there, but don't let it spill over to arrogance. Nobody likes arrogance. Do you get me? Cool. And adding to the point about Nunu saying about working hard, what Adrian was really saying is that what I heard in between the lines with what Adrian was saying is, the hard work is put it there. Life comes, is there. But the recognition is what's missing. Do you get it? You see, you put all in the hard work and everything like that, but the recognition that doesn't come, it kills somebody. And this leads on to my next point, depression. The reason why a lot of human beings can get in depression when they have their own business, they have their own thing that they're doing, their own ministry, is because, one, people don't appreciate them. And we don't let it known that you're appreciated. Let's talk about Christians for a second. In your own ministry, when you're leading your ministry, how many people in your ministry come and tell you thank you? You'd be surprised. The people at your church be clapping, saying yes, pastor. But in secret, how many of them come up to you and say, Pastor, thank you, without asking for something? Without saying, Pastor, I beg you help me with this little thing. Them saying thank you. I'm saying, how many of them come and just come say thank you? It's the same with somebody who's an entrepreneur. How many times we just go, listen, thank you? How many times did your friends come and tell you, listen, that you're doing well, man? Like, I appreciate you, Do you know what I'm saying? And sometimes that loneliness of you doing things alone and having that pressure, as Adrian was saying, having the pressure of life, bills, family, all looking at you like, and everything is on your shoulders. When everything's on your shoulders, listen, and you're looking around like nobody else can bear your crux. There is no one else who can bear your crux. Nobody else can bear your crux. So it can become very tiresome. It can become very lonely, and you can become very isolated. So it's understandable that you may feel depressed. It's only natural that you may feel depressed. Do you get me? As Adrian was saying. And it's almost impossible, as Gogo was saying, Biscuit, I understand what you meant, but it's almost impossible not to compare yourself. Even me on this YouTube, sometimes I see people blowing, I'm like, yo, like, when is my time to blow? Or when am I gonna do something that's gonna blow? Like, you see certain videos on YouTube, you're like, how did you make it? Like, bro, like, you put one video and it was like, the quality wasn't even lit. The audio was all over the place, but you've banged. And some of us are putting the audio, the lighting, we're funny, and it's not banging. But why? Comparison is a thief of joy. But it's almost impossible now not to compare yourself, because really and truly, we all want to make it. Really and truly, we all want to be the best that we can be. Really and truly, the way we do measure ourselves as a metric of measurement is by looking at what other people have done. I mean, if you look at this, who's the most successful football team? Or no, who's the most successful footballer? Is it Ronaldo or Messi? How would you be able to, why would you compare the two in the first place? They're both successful in their own right. They both bang goals all day. But then we start using metrics. Ronaldo scored this many goals, and his ratio is every game he scores 1 goal or 2 goals. Messi every game scores 3 goals. So per game he scores 3 goals per game. Oh, Messi must be the most successful. Or Ronaldo must be the most successful. Why? Because we use a metric of measurement of what success is. But that's a universal success. The actual success, Messi, when he first started, may have just wanted to be a footballer. He ended up being Barcelona. And as Nissi said, your goalposts shift. And here is why they shift. They shift with time. They shift with the people that you spend around with. They shift with age. They shift with experience. They shift with the knowledge that you have. They shift with your different pressures that are now on you. They shift because you yourself have come to a better understanding of yourself. They shift because now you've got to a certain point. You don't want to plateau, you want to keep on growing. Anything that stands still will die. Anything that stands still dies. So you must keep on growing, because one of the 7 things about something that's living is that it grows. If your dream is to be alive, it has to keep on growing. You look at any business in the past, any business that does not keep on growing dies. I mean, if you look at Kodak, where's Kodak now? I don't really know about Kodak, but Kodak used to be one of the best cameras out there everywhere when it comes to films. When it came out to the camera film, or whether it came to the actual camera itself, they were lit. But because of change, and they didn't change with change, they died. The business is not as it used to be. Woolworths, where are you? So if you don't grow, you die. So shifting of objectives must shift with time. You must grow in order to keep on being a continual success. Do you get me? Guys, listen. Whether you do a 9 to 5, whether you're an entrepreneur, I want you to know, listen, you're a success. Because whatever goals you set out, as long as you accomplish the goals that you have set out, you'll be a success. You'll be a success. Do you get me? So don't let no one shun you because you're not an entrepreneur, and don't let no one shun you because you're a 9 to 5er. Or don't feel so bad, because you're an entrepreneur and things are not going so well right now. There are loads of stories where people started and it wasn't going well and it picked up. You get me? All I need to tell you is that keep on growing. If you keep on growing, you'll keep on being alive. You keep on being alive, you'll keep on being hungry. And that hungry breeds desire, and that breeds success. So listen, Little Black Book, we are signing out. I appreciate you guys. Listen, I can't wait for BkChat episode 4. And look forward to my comments, because I'm going to keep on commenting. Don't know. Appreciate you.